All right, now it is time for our second short story today. And this time we are discussing Laurie. Robert, go ahead and give us the rundown on this one.
Laurie follows the tale of Lloyd Sunderland grieving the death of his wife and just kind of like going through the motions in the months that followed. His sister Beth decided Lloyd needed a little something to keep him busy and gifted him a border collie Moody mix puppy. Lloyd would go on to name her Laurie.
And this one, I mean, if I were to tag this anything, I mean, it's cozy with, you know, takes a typical king turn at one point in this story, but it's very cozy read in comparison to probably everything else we've read from him so far in this book.
I'm not going to lie, dude. I didn't know I wanted cozy Stephen King in my life, but yeah. I do. Like, I love this book. It was like 20 something pages long. And right off the rip, we just don't deserve dogs, man. I looked up the breed of the dog in this novel, and they are absolutely adorable. I'll throw a picture under the floof section in our Discord of a border collie muddy mix. I don't know how to say that breed. But so we have like a 65-year-old man living in like a small island community in Florida, and he's grieving the loss of his partner, like I mentioned. So like he just cares little for his health or his well-being. And his sister slides by one day and she's like, "Hey, look at this puppy. This is yours." And at first Lloyd's like, "Nah, I don't want that dog. That's too much responsibility. That's too much hassle." But ultimately he like comes around and accepts it, and then he names it Laurie. And I really thought it was cool how Lloyd wouldn't give the dog a name at first, because he said, like, if you name the dog, you're claiming ownership. So I actually thought it was like sweet and a little touching when he named the dog.
Yeah, because then you start to see the way that a relationship builds between a person and a dog. Like he takes Laurie with him everywhere he goes. And, you know, he doesn't even like to leave Laurie for, you know, to go to the grocery store. And when he comes back, there she is waiting on him. And it just feels like a typical, you know, I don't know how many of our listeners or even how many of us in this show right here, but you know, if you've had like an older grandparent and just to see their relationship with their little dog, it just kind of reminded me of my grandma when she had her little chihuahuas and she'd take them literally everywhere and they were just like her best little friends. I just kept thinking that during this whole little portion of it, just reminded me of that connection. So really cool.
It was really cool. But dude, like Stephen King being known mostly for horror, I was like predicting where the story was going to go while I was reading it. And I was like preparing for the worst. I'm like, oh, man, he's going to get attached to this dog. At the beginning of the novel, there was a sign that said, "Watch out for alligators," but alligators is slashed out and said aliens. So I'm like, is this dog an alien? What's going on with this dog? Is this dog his wife reincarnated? Is this dog going to get eaten by an alligator? Like, that's just where my mind went because of who he is, known for the genre he typically writes. But dude, I'm happy to report that, spoiler alert, Laurie's just a dog, everyone, and a pretty awesome dog at that.
Yeah, dude. This dog gets this man through some times. And so let's talk a little bit about, I want to share a little quote from Discord that I thought was absolutely hilarious. And it was by that one house elf. And so, hey, if you're a part of our Discord and you want to be a part of these conversations, man, we encourage you to go do that. But under the Laurie on the one house elf shared that just goes, "Man, wholesome, sweet, and then bam, Florida." And I was like, dude, you don't get much better than that. That's exactly what this is. Bam, Florida happens. Robert, that could
be the three words to describe the story.
You don't even need
sweet Florida.
Wholesome, sweet Florida. Yeah.
So like the story unfolds like Justice said. You see the dog and Lloyd grow this bond, and it's really just a tale between those two. It's like kind of bittersweet, man. Like he overcame his grief, he acclimated and accepted his new life without his wife. And while I said earlier I kept waiting for horror to jump in, it eventually does. Like one day he's walking his dog to this fish restaurant where they would go have lunch every day, and they happen upon like a cane covered in blood, his neighbor's cane. And Laurie runs off in the direction of the blood, like barking like crazy. And Lloyd gives chase, and he finds his neighbor's body under an alligator which is Florida. What up?
Yep.
The alligator killed Don, the neighbor, and the entire scene that followed, dude, had me tense. I'm like, oh my God, dude, this dog's going to get eaten by this alligator. If Laurie dies, I riot. I quit the book.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen that reel. My mind immediately went to that reel where I guess this dude, maybe they are in Florida, but they're on that dock, and this dude's like working on his boat, and he has this like black lab sitting there barking at the water because this crocodiles or alligators just swimming, and grabs the dog, but the dog lives. Like it pulls the dog into the water, and somehow the dude jumps in and does like the people's elbow to the alligator.
Hey, dude, you talk about riding for your pet, bro. Dude, if you're out here elbowing an alligator, save your dog.
The dog lives. Rider. But I just started thinking about that. I was like, because as Laurie's barking, I'm like, please don't let this be that situation. Don't let Laurie get eaten. Not by this alligator. And I was like, this is what King's gonna do this. That's what King's about to do to us. But go on. Sorry.
Yeah, dude. Luckily nothing happens to Laurie. She lives and her neighbor lives. It was a pretty cool scene. And ultimately at the end of the day, like a wild game expert shows up. He's like, hey, that alligator was just protecting its clutch of eggs. Like your neighbor probably got too close. And that's essentially what happened. So the dog, like nothing bad happened to the dog. Nothing bad happened. Like the horror that King's known for was here, but it was for Don the neighbor. And I argue, dude, you can actually, for me, you can just take that entire scene out of it. You can get rid of the alligator scene altogether, and you would have been left with like a touching, cozy tale about a man and their dog and growing old and giving your life new purpose, overcoming grief. As a dog owner, I'm rating this one high. This is probably my second favorite book in the end, short story in the entire collection.
I was going to say the same thing, and a part of me wonders if it's King's too, because I'm wondering if that's what this cover art is based off of, is this story. So
I would have to assume that's what the cover art's based off of. But like dogs have been an irreplaceable part of my life for as long as I can remember. I've had dogs. Like my earliest memory is I had a Chihuahua named Sam when I was a toddler. My mom's a huge dog person. She has 6 right now. I married an insane dog person. We have 4. So, dude, this story just hit me on a different level. Really enjoyed it.
For sure. All right, well, let's get into our lightning round. What are your feelings on Cozy King? We'll start there. And, I know we've already kind of hit on this a little bit, but, give us a little brief rundown on how you feel about Cozy King as a whole.
I'd read another one. If he put out another story that was just like feel good, cozy, like something to do with like, life and what's going on later in life, something like that, I'd read it.
Yeah.
I was actually surprised. Yeah.
Well, if anybody knows us on this show, and if this is your first time listening, welcome. But also, we here at the Nerdy Reads podcast love slice of life, cozy stuff. It's a big part of what we enjoy. So Cozy King really, really was something that I connected with and really enjoyed. So I would read if he came out with a cozy book, I'm in. All right, what is your all-time favorite dog celebrity? Dylan, we'll start this with you, my man. I feel like it's Air Bud or something, but go ahead. I'm just basing off your age. Dude, did I get it right again?
No. I was going to go with the Chihuahua from Beverly Hills Chihuahua.
Yeah.
There you go. Robert?
I'm going to go an old school and a new school. All right.
Okay.
Old school dog celebrity is going to be the Taco Bell dog, Yokiro Taco Bell, the little Chihuahua. And new school, I'm going to go with the Hammy, the corgi from the Hammy and Olivia videos all over the internet. I love that little dude.
Can it be a cartoon?
Sure.
All right, dude. Mine's Charlie. Charlie from All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Aww.
All Dogs Go to Heaven is one of my favorite kid movies when I was younger.
Talk about bringing down the vibe now.
Charlie. I love Charlie, bro. All right, so last question here. Has pet ownership ever gotten you through a tough time? This is a moment to kind of get real. We don't do a whole lot of this here on Nerdy Reads podcast, but, I think we are all big time pet people here. And, I share the same sentiments as Robert, and I've always had dogs my entire life. I have 2 of them now, had 3 of them up until very recently. And so, Yeah, dude. Dogs have always been a big part. So, Dylan, you can kick us off with this one too, man. Has pet ownership ever gotten you through a tougher time?
Yeah, I think so. I think as I was growing up, I did have a dog that we had a special bond, I feel like, and she's been there for like, I don't know, she's like 12 years old or 13 years old now. So like she's been with me for quite some time. And so she's been great. And then also my first dog that I purchased myself. So the other dog is technically my mom's dog, but the only dog that I purchased myself, Malia, I've had her for about a year and a half now. And it was tough because it was like she was a puppy, and so like I was dealing with like a lot of the usual like puppy stuff, but at the same time, like she's my puppy, and I got to take care of her, and she's special to me, so I love her, and she got me through a bit of a tough time. So yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing that, bro. Robert.
So there was a time in my life where I was working third shift, and my wife works first shift, and my kids are kids. They're in school. So the only time I saw my family for like a year and a half was rare. Like I would be awake to take the kids to school and then I'd sleep, pick them up from school. I got to spend very little time with them. It kind of made me feel ostracized from my family a bit. Like I was kind of living a different life away from them. And that was something I struggled with. But we got a puppy named Hagrid, because my wife wanted like a bigger dog because she didn't like being here alone at night. And I've never been a big dog person. But Hagrid, he's about 80 something pounds, German Shepherd, Black Lab mix. That dog changed me, dude. That dog, I'm now a big fan of big dogs. Hagrid he got me through one of the toughest times in my life, dude. And that's just my boy right there.
Yeah. So when I can't remember how old I was. Maybe I was 12 or 13. I got a basset hound named Betsy. Robert remembers Betsy.
I remember old Betsy.
She was my girl. And so from the age of, so I guess Lucy wasn't even born yet when we had to put her down because she was just her health was so run down. But throughout all of my young adult years, she moved with me to every single apartment. We lived in my van for a month. Like, this dog was like with me through every single stage of life until I had my own children. And that dog got me through a whole lot of things. And I remember Maggie was like, because Maggie's like, she'd never seen me ever cry before. But I remember laying in the fetal position at the vet office, unconsolable over losing my girl Betsy. But, that's just what's cool about pets. They're a part of you. They're a part of your life. They're a part of your family. And even thinking of we all have dogs now that are a part of what we do. We got Bruno and Gimli over here who are both awesome. And we had a dog, Susie, we just lost recently too. But I mean, dude, you just get connected to dogs in a different way. And this story, I think, really, really speaks to that and what that relationship and what can happen. Because you have a dude who lost his wife, gets a dog, and does it fix it? No. Does it make life better? Yes. And so
absolutely, dude. I'll end with the Hagrid quirk he does, dude. So when one of the things I miss is like falling asleep alone. Hagrid would sleep with me in bed, but he would never sleep in our bed with Veronica. He'd always jump down and made her so mad. And to this day, like if Veronica goes out like on a vacation with like her friends and it's me at the house by myself for a while, Hagrid will get up in our bed and sleep with me while she's gone. And as soon as she's back, he's back. He won't get in the bed with her. And if I'm not here and she's in the bed alone, he won't get in the bed and sleep with her. That dude will lay right there in her spot and lay with me, dude, if she's not here.
Hey, another fun fact from Hagrid and Veronica. I hope you're listening. But the one time I watched Hagrid at my house, Hagrid slept in my bed. So, oh man, let's give our final 3 words for this one. Great story. So, Robert, go ahead and share. You kick us off, bro.
Man's best friend.
That's a good one. I put cozy with gore.
Nice. I want to just say that one house elf, she nailed it.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah. Bam, Florida. I mean, that's pretty much it. You don't need 3. You just need 2.